Hello everyone, let's create photo manipulation in Photoshop. So let us start. So we'll be creating a photo manipulation of a giant camera and some tiny human beings will be sitting on it. So let's start doing. So here is the image of camera. First let's select this camera. So we'll just zoom into the image. We will use quick selection tool and we'll click on select subject. So here we have selected the camera, but we have also selected the reflection. So we will subtract the reflection from the selection. So we will simply use Alt and subtract the selection. So we can just select only the camera. Here we can see. So we can use lasso tool to just select the camera. Right. So make sure that the entire camera is selected, and also we should not select any unwanted objects. Right. So once the camera is selected, let's apply mask to the selection so that we can remove the background. So now the background is gone, and let's see we have properly selected the camera or not. So we will just create one simple background below the camera layer. Alright, the camera looks fine. Maybe we can just improve it over here. So we can just use the lasso tool and we can just delete some unwanted edges. Right. So now this looks better. Now let's confirm the mask. So we will just right click on the mask thumbnail and select apply layer mask. Right. So the camera is now selected. Our next step is we'll first crop this document. We'll just crop the document only this much. Right. So first task is completed. Now we will be selecting this ocean. So this is the ocean. I have already opened this ocean. So what we will be doing is we will be placing this camera inside this ocean. But first thing is let's try to extend this image. Here we can see the sky. The sky is not too big. It's very small. So what we'll be doing is we will unlock the background. And we will activate the crop tool. Simply we need to hit C. Now the crop tool is active. Let's just crop it. So here we can see a transparent background. So let's select the rectangular marquee tool, and what we will be doing is we will just select the sky and we will right click on the sky, and here we have the option layer via copy. Right. So we got a copy of the sky. We'll simply just take the copy and we will just scale it. And now we will merge these two layers. To merge layers, we can use Ctrl E in PC or Command E in Mac. Right. Now we will remove this scene. So we will use spot healing brush and we will just erase the scene here. So we can just erase it, right? And also we will remove this disturbance. We can use patch tool. We'll use patch tool and make sure that everything is properly blended. This looks better. Right. So now we have created some space, and we have extended the sky. Right. Right. Our next task is, we will now get the camera. We will select this camera and we will just keep it over here. So the camera should appear like a giant camera. Right. Now what we will be doing is, we will keep half of the camera underwater. Some portion of the camera will be outside the ocean surface and the rest of the portion of the camera will be inside the water. So for that, what we are supposed to do, we will hide the camera layer and we will select the pen tool. We will select the ocean surface. We will select the ocean surface with pen tool and make sure that the selection is little bit above the ocean surface. Something like this. Right. Once we got the path, we have to convert the path to a selection. To convert the path to a selection, we simply have to hit Ctrl Enter in PC or Command Enter in Mac. Right. So once we have got the selection, now we will activate the selection tool, any of the selection tool like marquee tool or lasso tool or anything. Then we will right click inside the selection and we will just use the option layer via copy. Right, we have created a copy. Right, now the next step is, we will just turn on the camera layer and we will drag the camera layer below the ocean copy or ocean surface layer, something like this. So we need to get something like this. Right, so once we got this, the next thing is, we will now select a blending mode. So we will select a blending mode like, let's try screen. We can use screen. So here is the screen. We can also try something like a soft light, but let's select screen. Screen looks nice, and we will take a duplicate of this layer and we will change the blending mode to, let's say, soft light. So we can select soft light. And one more thing is, whatever portion of the camera that is inside the water, we want it to be a little bit light. So for that, what we will be doing is, we will select the camera layer and we will just use a polygon lasso tool and we will just select the portion of the camera that is inside the water. So we have to be careful here. Right. So once we have selected the bottom part of the camera, now we will right click inside the selection and we will simply select layer via cut, so that this portion will be pasted in a separate layer. Right. So we have a separate layer for the bottom part. Now what we will be doing is, we will reduce the opacity. So we can see here. Now this looks realistic, right? So we can just slightly increase the opacity. We can keep it to, let's say, 48%. Okay, this looks better, right? So now this looks like the camera is inside the water. Now we will create one more attraction here. We will create an underwater scene. So let's select an underwater scene here. So here we have the underwater scene of some fishes. So something like this. We will use the marquee tool and select this much image, and we will drag it and just keep it over here. So we can just scale it, and we will also just move the image below the ocean surface layer. So we got something like this, and we can then apply a blending mode to it. Let's try a blending mode such as screen. We can try screen or soft light, and we can just keep it below the camera, something like this. And we will just try the blending modes, which blending mode is going to be nice. So this looks better. And one more thing is, let's apply a mask to it. So we'll just simply hold Alt in PC or Option in Mac and click on the mask icon at the bottom of the layers panel, right? And then we can just use the brush. Let's use a soft rounded brush, and here the flow amount is less, so we can just keep it to around 60 or 63, or let's say, okay, 67% is all right. Make sure that white is in the foreground, and we can just paint. So we can just paint the underwater images, so something like this. We will also use the black color to erase over these cameras. Make sure that the mask thumbnail is active. So here we want to show the camera completely, so we can just erase the underwater portions over this camera, so something like this. Now it looks better, right? So now what we will be doing is we will put some grass on top of this camera. Now let's get the grass. So here is the grass image, and this is another grass image. Let's put this grass image on top of the camera. So just we'll drag it. So we can just scale it. We can stretch it a little bit, right? So here we have to click this image over the top portion of the camera. So here I have just put the grass image over the top portion of the camera layer. So we will just clip it now. So something like this. So now we have clipped. We can reduce the opacity also, so somewhat like this. But we will use a blending mode here. We will use a blending mode such as hard light. So this looks better. But we also don't want the grass to be too intense. So what we want is, we will just put a mild grass over the camera. So we will apply a hide all mask to it. So we will simply select the grass layer, and then we'll just click on the mask icon by holding Alt in PC or Option in Mac. So then we'll select the brush, and let's keep the flow to a small value. Let's say 30% is all right. So now let's paint. So we can paint, let's not paint everywhere. let's paint only on some portions. So this looks better. A lot of algae can be seen growing over the camera. So something like this. So this looks better. Right. Now our next task is, let's get some persons and we will put those persons on top of this camera. Means those persons will be sitting on top of this camera. So now let's get the persons. So first let's get these persons. So we will place these persons on top of the camera. These two guys will be sitting on top of the camera. So first what we'll be doing, we'll be selecting these two persons. This is an index file. So we have to convert the color mode of this file or image to RGB color mode. So we'll simply go to image mode and we'll select RGB color, so that this image will be converted from indexed color to RGB color, so that we can select the persons. So now we will select the quick selection tool and click on this select subject. So these persons will be selected. Now we will use the move tool and we'll simply drag the persons and drop them in this document. So we will scale them properly. So we will place them properly. So something like this. Right. So we have to put their legs inside water. So their legs should be inside the water. So we will just drag the person's layer below the ocean surface layers. So now we can see the legs of these two persons are inside the water. We can do one more thing. We can actually select the legs of these persons. So something like this. And we can just right click and we can select layer wire cut, so that the bottom portion of the legs will be placed in a separate layer. And now we can reduce the opacity. So now we can see this looks interesting and realistic. Right. We will get two more persons. So here we can see one lady. So we'll also select this lady, and this file is also an indexed file. We have to change the color mode to RGB. Now we will select this lady and let us place her on top of this camera. So something like this. Right, this looks better. You can make her a little bit small, so this looks better. Right. We'll get one more lady. We'll select her. And we will also drag her and place her on our camera. So we can just adjust her properly. Right, this looks better, and we will make this lady a little bit short, so that this looks realistic. Right. So we have completed our basic photo manipulation. Now we will do some simple color adjustments. So we will use curves adjustment here. So we will make the image a little bit dark, so something like this. This looks realistic. And then we will also use a color lookup preset. It will apply some unnatural cinematic color to the scene. So we'll just select the color lookup, and here we have a lot of presets. We will select one interesting preset here. So here we have a preset called tension green. We'll select it. But we don't want this tension green to be too intense. So what we will be doing is we will select the thumbnail, the mask thumbnail for the color lookup preset, and we will inverse the mask. To inverse the mask, we'll simply hit Ctrl I in PC or Command I in Mac, and we will just select the brush. Make sure that the flow value is just 15%, and now let's paint. So we can just paint so that the color lookup preset, the tension green effect, is just mild. It's not too intense. Right. This looks better. And now we will do one more thing. We can just use this brightness and contrast. We can increase the contrast of the image. It will make it look crispy. And we can also try to increase the brightness, but we want brightness only on top, not inside the water. So what we can do is we will increase the brightness, and we will just invert the mask for the brightness and contrast adjustment, and we will try to just paint the brightness on top. So there is some brightness on top. That's it. Right. So one last thing we can do is we can just apply one more adjustment, that is color balance. And with color balance we can increase the amount of greeniness or blue or reddishness. So we can just try to increase the blueness. So you can see here now the blueness has increased in the image, but we want the blueness only inside water. So what we can do is we can invert the mask, and we can just paint over here. So something like this. We are painting with a very low flow amount. This much is okay. Right. This looks better. Right. So this is a simple photo manipulation example. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Please do like, subscribe, share, and if you have anything to say, do comment. See you again.